Well, I've done a number of videos that have to do with research and documentation, MLA style, basically. And this one is specifically about documentation and even more specifically about in-text citations or parentheticals. And this handout you see on screen is available right in the same lesson where you clicked on this video. So you can look at it on your own outside of this video too. And it's obviously called In Text Citations, Punctuation, and the Signal Phrase. And this is part of what you're trying to demonstrate in all your work, especially the research paper, that you get correct. And so, okay, when you do a quote, quoted material is followed by a parenthetical, also known as an in-text citation. And the parenthetical gives the page numbers of that quotation's source. So sometimes that parenthetical citation gives the author's last name, depending on the type of signal phrase you've written. So we have to understand what we mean by the signal phrase. And so let's use this definition. It's a phrase that signals your reader that you're about to include a quotation. And there are two types of those signal phrases. One with an attribution, which means it includes the author's last name. The other without an attribution, which means it does not include the author's last name. So let's look at the first type with an attribution. Let's say you write, Shelley held a bold view. Poets, there's your quotation, poets are the unacknowledged legislators of the world. Now, there's a few things going on here. When you have a complete sentence leading into the quotation, then you use a colon before the quotation. And then, you open your quote and have your quotation and close it. And right here, notice there's a space between the closed quotation marks and the opening of the parenthetical. In other words, it's not like this. It's not crammed up against that's a little thing. It's minutia, but it signals your professors that you know what you're doing. Also, we don't have a period after world, even if there was one in the original source. With periods, we hold them until after we close the parenthetical. Now, the page numbers here, 794-95, well, it means page 794, page 795. Obviously, that short little quote started on one page and spilled over to the other. That's what that means. Normally, you would probably just have one page number. So that's an example of a signal phrase with an attribution because we named the author. Therefore, the author's name does not go inside the parenthetical here. If it did, it would be redundant. Shelley held a bold view. Poets are the unacknowledged legislators of the world. Shelley, 794-95. That's redundant, and we don't need that. Okay, doing a little work with sound there. Now, let's look at the same quotation, but without an attribution. Instead of Shelley held a bold view, other artists hold a bolder view. Well, now we're going to use the same quote, but we don't know what other artists we're talking about, so Shelley's name would go inside the parenthetical. And that's how we make that determination. Does the page number, if you have them available to you, which a lot of the times you will, like in a novel, it's going to be paginated, so you can use the page numbers for quotes. You're always going to have the page number in a parenthetical. Whether or not the author's name goes in there along with the page number depends on how you constructed the signal phrase. So with or without the attribution. Okay. And so that's basically what's said here. Punctuation with quotations, as I said, if it's an entire sentence, a complete sentence, that would stand on its own before the quotation, then we use a colon. Sometimes you might write something like integrating the quotation into your own wording. Shelley thought poets the unacknowledged legislators of the world. Well, that doesn't need any punctuation leading into it. Or if you were to break it up, poets, comma, according to Shelley, comma, are the unacknowledged legislators of the world. And so that's how you would do that. The part that's your writing, goes outside of the quotation. You're breaking up the quotation. The rest of it in this handout, I'm not going to say they're not important things, but you can look at them on your own. So, okay, well, I hope everybody does a really nice job with in-text citations. There are also MLA resources available throughout this course that's put in there by our English department. So negotiate all of that as carefully as you can. Remember, you're demonstrating your skills, especially in that research paper. Thank you.